Hey everybody, it's Liz here, looking slightly different from the last time I did a video. I think my last update was when I was on my way to the doctor's for a blood test, and so much has happened since then in terms of my gastroparesis. Obviously, different colour hair. I've just had it done yesterday actually, not the colour but just had it thinned out, so it's not so crazy. I have had so much going on with my gastroparesis and my stomach and stuff. I thought I'd give you an update because I'm going to have another update next week. Basically, I went to the doctor's that day, had the blood test. Or was that when I was going? I can't think. No, I went to have a blood test and my potassium levels were back in a normal range. They were still the low end of normal. But those Send-OK tablets that gave me the horrific diarrhea, they'd obviously worked to an extent. So basically, since then, I tried to eat more solid food, like mashed potato with Marmite mixed in. I love Marmite, and that's good salt intake as well. And scrambled egg, but really like, I say runny. That doesn't mean it's undercooked. It's just how I like it, and also how it's easier to digest rather than like really solid. So basically I started doing that, and I was alright-ish, but I would get terrible stomach pains, like continuous stomach pain all through the day. Whenever I had anything slightly more solid than yogurt or soup, I would get really bad cramps, and then explosive diarrhea. And that was pretty much the way it's been since, with the odd exception of when I've eaten something more solid than that, then I get constipation because it just can't digest itself. So anyway, I had an appointment at Addenbrooke's Hospital where I've been under the gastro team for probably about 4 years now, because I've lived in where I live now in Cambridgeshire for 4 years, and they were really good when I was first there. I've been there, admitted there a few times with bowel obstructions and impaction and stuff like that. And then unfortunately my doctor, who was really good, was only there for a year training, so he left. And I've got a lot of friends who go specifically to Addenbrooke's because they apparently have a really good intestinal failure team there. And they know what EDS is. My pain clinic's there. They know what EDS is. And so I was quite confident going, because the doctor I was going to see was recommended by quite a few friends who, unfortunately, they're all tube fed, but their gastroparesis is quite severe. So I'd held on to the last couple of months with all this hope on this appointment that they were going to do something. They were going to at least investigate why I've had this flare, or just like advice on how to get out of it and anything that would calm it down, because it's much cooler, but a few weeks ago the temperature was so hot I really didn't feel like eating soup, and just eating yogurts it was boring, but B, I was getting to the stage where things were changing with my stomach. So for example, I would feel really, really hungry, I'd have a yogurt, feel a bit sick, and then feel really hungry again. And yogurts weren't satisfying my appetite. I was getting really hungry, but if I did eat anything solid, I would then get the pain and feel sick. So it was a vicious circle because I could never satisfy the hunger, and it was just a really annoying time. So then so I went to the appointment, and so the doctor basically, originally someone else called me in, and I was like, I'm here to see this particular doctor, and they were like, oh no, that's fine, you can see him, but we'll let him know you're waiting. And I went in, and literally I was like, oh, I'm so glad to see you, I've had so much great stuff, and all about EDS and stomach and stuff. And he goes to me, oh no, we don't know much about these, why they're related and how they're related. And I'm thinking, what? Like, seriously. I volunteer for EDS UK, and we get updated all the time on the research that Professor Aziz is doing in London about the relation with EDS and the bowels, and there's loads of papers on it, and there's loads of, like, when I was under the gastro team at UCH in London, there was no question that the bowel issues I have are related to my EDS, because in the past when I've said to doctors that don't know me I have gastroparesis, they asked if it's caused by diabetes, and I'm really confused by that because I didn't know you could get gastroparesis other than with EDS, so I was really naive with that, and shows that I don't know that much about it. And so anyway, sorry, that's my washing machine in the background, if you can hear that. It's gurgling away. That's what my stomach sounds like at times. So basically, I went into the appointment. I had my list of symptoms I'd had, which is quite a long list. It's like an A4 page. You know, everything from the beginning when I was having weird sense of smells. My bowels were terrible. They smelled like pond water, rotten meat, and just really random stuff. It's not like that anymore, but it's still like diarrhea most of the time, and all the pain, and like I get really weird tastes, like something I've had before in the past, like foods. They don't taste the same anymore. My sense of smell is super heightened. I keep getting asked if I am pregnant because they're the symptoms that people would get with the sense of smell thing. Anyway, so when he said he didn't really know much about EDS in the bowels, I was a bit like, And then I told him, he said, well, what's the main problem? I said, well, the fact that I can't eat and I've lost so much weight. By that stage, I think I'd lost about 18 pounds in 1 month, which was a really big amount of weight to lose. And for me, being an overweight person, you know, everyone sees weight loss as a good thing because I need to lose weight, and I know that. But if someone had gone in who was of a normal BMI or normal weight, you know, if you were, say, 9 stone, 8 stone, 10 stone even, and you'd lost 18 pounds in a month, they'd be, like, really concerned. So he asked me the main thing, and then I said this, and he goes, what are your symptoms? And I started reeling off my list of symptoms from my list, and he said, hang on a sec, that's just too many, let's focus on one thing. And I was so frustrated because I was like, well, there's not just one thing. I said, I don't know why I have this, why it's flared up. I've not changed my diet, I've not changed my lifestyle, I've not gone anywhere different, I've not had anything unusual to eat, anything, you know, and nothing. There was no explanation why it'd come out of the blue. And I was expecting him to say, well, we'll do some tests and then see if there's anything we can do. But he literally said to me, he goes, well, you're overthinking things in terms of like pain and all this and things. And I was like, what? Like, I had my gastroparesis diagnosis 8 years ago, so I'm diagnosed already. I know what's wrong with me. I just want to know how to get out of this flare, and if I'll ever get out of this flare, because it's been, God, since beginning of July now, so it's coming up to 2 months, where I've not been able to eat a normal diet of solid food at all. Even yesterday I was shopping and I considered looking down the baby food aisle at anything that was pureed, but these days they're so weird. They have like all the healthy stuff, because I prefer the healthy stuff, plus it has to be lactose free and gluten free, which baby stuff generally isn't. You think, oh, sweet potato and like something, an apple, and you're like, why are they mixing sweet and savoury together? Like, that's disgusting. So I'm not successful there. So anyway, he agreed that he would do blood tests to check for my vitamin levels and see if I was malnourished. And then he said, well, you're on iron tablets, because that's because I'm anemic, and they found that out years ago when I got my EDS diagnosed, just from a routine blood test. And he said, oh, I'm going to change them because the iron tablets will make your diarrhea worse. And I'm like, okay, so for the last 8 years I've had flares and it's never been brought up about the iron tablets, and iron tablets have never caused my diarrhea. They're ferrous sulfate that have no side effects from them. And when I have blood tests now, my anemia is basically gone, but obviously if I come off them, the anemia comes back. So he's like, I'm going to change you on to ferrous gluconate. And I was just like, oh, okay. And he goes, oh, it's just a lower dose of iron. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. But when I went to the pharmacy to pick them up, it said on the box, contains sucrose, and then there's like 3 different E numbers. An allergy test I had last year showed that I'm allergic to E112, quite severely. Like it said, there's a 95% allergy reaction to it. So I have to avoid that E number. And I generally, because of the FODMAP diet, I avoid sucrose as much as I can. And that was another main thing on it. So I said to the pharmacist, well, I can't have this. And she said, well, it's been prescribed to you. We can't, like, do anything about it. But the trouble is, he will, in his letter to my doctor, say, well, I'm changing your medication. So I was, like, freaking out because thinking, well, if my medication gets changed, I can't get my ferrous sulfate. I'm just going to get anemic again because I can't take this new medication because I'm allergic to it. And he had, like, I go to that hospital for so many other specialities, for the pain clinic, dermatology, physio, everything. And all my notes are on there, my allergies, my meds, my illnesses. And he asked me, like, what meds are you on? What are you allergic to? And I was literally like, and he rushed the appointment. It was like 10-minute appointment. And I was literally like, oh my God, he didn't agree to do any scans. That's why he said I was overthinking things and my bowel was like that because I was overthinking. I'm like, what am I overthinking? This has come out of nowhere from kind of start of lack of appetite to full-blown not being able to eat or not being able to eat solids. And he was just so infuriating. And I left the clinic in tears. When I'd been to the pharmacy, I was like, right, I'm going to go back up there because I went back to the clinic because obviously they've given me something I'm allergic to. I said, well, my tablets I'm allergic to. What am I supposed to do? And the nurse was like, well, I'll see what I can do. And she came back, she goes, oh, well, he's seeing other patients now. You have to go to your GP. And if you're not happy with him, you have to get a new referral to come back to gastro. And I was like, that's going to take months. And my stomach is not getting any better. So I went out there fuming. And so I've since written to his secretary to pass on to him my issues with the appointment, and also asked him at the time if he could refer me to see Professor Aziz, because Professor Aziz will see people NHS and privately only through referral. And I pointed out that he'd given me medication I'm allergic to and that he didn't really listen to my issues and all those kind of things. And I've heard nothing back, so that's no surprise at all. So I went to my GP and I was like, look, I talked with my parents as well about this and they were fuming too. And I thought I need to get at least something in writing from Professor Aziz, because he is the only person, as far as I know, who is like the best expert in the country. He's a neurogastroenterologist. I've had all my scans and tests 8 years ago, but 8 years is a long time and things change. We can't afford to have more tests, but we can. My mum and dad are very kindly funding this private appointment. It's only half an hour and it costs about £300, which is crazy. But I can at least say to him, look, I've already got my diagnosis. This is the current situation. What do I do? And then if he says in his letter, because he'll write a clinic letter to my GP, even though he's private, if he says I need certain scans and certain tests, at least that will get in the pipeline to be done, because I cannot carry on as I am. Either they need to figure out what's wrong, because some of my symptoms, when I've talked to people, they're like, sounds like you could be celiac, sounds like you could have Crohn's, sounds like... And I'm like, I have no idea. Maybe I've got those things, maybe I haven't, maybe it's just gastroparesis. But he also, the person that was terrible, told me to come on a lower dose of my precalcipride, which I did try for 3 days, but I came so constipated that I then had to have 2 full-blown days of the 8 sachets of Laxato, which is for impaction, because my stomach blew up in size. I kept getting spasms, like I needed to go and open my bowels, and I'd get there and there'd be nothing coming out, and I'd be straining and it would hurt, and my bowels were like, felt like everything was stuck in there. And eventually it cleared after all the Laxato, and I put myself back on the precalcipride dose I was on before. But it's like this doctor I saw at Addenbrooke's was just like clueless, and I'm really confused because the people I know who see him say he's amazing and he's really good if you've got intestinal failure. And I'm just like, he's just seeing me as I am, as an overweight person with EDS. saying, well, you clearly, you can't have intestinal failure if you're overweight. And so many people I've talked to on the Gift UK Facebook group have also experienced this. One girl, she was very overweight and she had to lose 12 stone before anyone would take anything seriously, because they said it's just her diet, it was the way she lived, it was her body, she needed to lose weight. But you can be malnourished and be overweight, because if you're not eating, then surely you're not getting the nutrients that you need, the vitamins, the minerals, everything. I know this. I've got an advanced diploma in nutrition. Like, I know what a healthy diet is. I'd long to eat like a piece of, salmon or some, like, I haven't eaten meat for like 2 months because my body can't digest it. So more recently, because it was my birthday last week, I started eating slightly more, like some crackers, and I'd find I was all right. I'd get more diarrhea than usual, but it wasn't too bad. And then I ended up having fish fingers, and I'd have, what else have I had? Oh, I had one slice of pizza, which was gluten-free and lactose-free, but my husband said in the car on the way home, because it was my birthday, I was like, I'm treating myself, I don't care. I said, if this causes a lot of pain and I'm really ill, take me to hospital, because then they'll have to listen, they'll see. I've already been to A&E twice with this pains and this nausea, and they have done nothing. They've not even given me IV fluids when I can't drink much. And so, and he said it sounded like I was giving birth, because I was in so much pain. I was screaming and I was panting to try and get through the pain. And it was like these waves of like squeezing, cramping pain in my lower stomach. And yes, so then I didn't eat for 2 days because my stomach couldn't cope with anything. And now I'm back to eating my yogurts. I'm still eating these Outpro chocolate ones. The dark chocolate I like. The milk chocolate's okay. The other flavours I hate. And the fruit ones I'm trying too. They've got tiny bits of fruit in, but they're not too bad. And soups, I'm literally just having Heinz chicken noodle and oxtail soup, because they're the only ones that are liquid enough. All the rest have got chunks in, or they've got milk in. These are the only two that I could find that weren't cream of or had milk in. I think the chicken noodle might have gluten in, but I really don't care, because the milk lactose issue is way, way worse than the gluten issue that I have. So yeah. So basically, today, I go to the dietitian in a couple of hours. I went to see my GP and was like, this is what's happened. I'm in the right state. I need a referral privately, see Professor Aziz, which they can't refuse to do, because obviously it doesn't cost them anything because it's a private referral. I said I already weeks before asked to see the dietitian, that like the day after I saw that awful doctor at the hospital, because lots of people were like, you need to be seeing a dietitian. They've got the power to do stuff. They can get you on nutritional drinks, that kind of thing, for when I can't eat. So yes, I got my letter through last week, actually on my birthday, made the appointment, and they had a cancellation for today, which was great. So I'm going to see the dietitian today. I also bought, with thanks to people on the Gift UK Facebook group, this. I haven't read it yet, but it's a huge book. I don't do well with books because I can't hold them, but I don't have a Kindle, so I couldn't get any other versions of it on electronically. But it's going to be a good read, hopefully, and give me some advice how to live with gastroparesis, because I've really, over the last few years, just taken medication and watched my diet, and my gastroparesis has been under control, but now I'm literally like, it is controlling me now. It's got recipes and things in here too, although what's really annoying is like it's got things like birthday cake, and I'm thinking I can't even manage cake at the moment. But the trouble is it's an American book, and I didn't know that, because when I bought it, it was on Amazon and it was like £12 and it was in pounds, it wasn't in dollars. But it basically says to make the cake, you need a box of Betty Crocker super moist yellow cake mix. Well, for me, that's got gluten in, so that's a no. A cup of unsweetened apple sauce. I can't have apples because FODMAP. And a cup of water. So that's like out. And the angel food cake, which is supposed to be chocolate, has got potato starch. I don't even know what that is. In the UK, I have no idea what that is. Cocoa, and it's all in cups. We don't do stuff in cups. Sugar, super fine. I don't have sugar. Egg whites is fine, salt's fine, and then lemon juice I can't have either. So it's like half of these recipes, and for me, with my experience of the FODMAP diet, they're not FODMAP friendly, so maybe I need to get a FODMAP diet book. But anyway, tomorrow I see Professor Aziz in London at the physician's clinic. He does Saturday appointments, thank goodness. So my mum's coming with me because my mum is the most amazing person in the world. She, at appointments, she is feisty. At my last appointment, when I came out crying, my mum would never have let that happen. She would have refused to leave the room until we had something done. Until he said, I will do this scan, do this test. All I need them to really do is maybe redo the barium meal swallow test to see where my food's going and to see where the problem is, because I'm not getting any vomiting. I get nausea, but no vomiting, no reflux, nothing, which is what I've had in the past. It's going down and then it's like stopping, and then it sticks in my stomach, and then it feels horrible. And that's it. And then I'm getting horrific like diarrhea. So something in there is not right, and I don't know how to fix it. So hopefully Professor Aziz has got some ideas. So my video next week will be on how I got on at the dietitian today and how I got on with Professor Aziz. So if anyone is interested to know on what his clinic's like, what he's like, and whether the half-hour horrifically expensive appointment is worth it, I will let you know. So I'll speak to you all soon. Bye. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned and click the picture of me on the screen right now, and you can subscribe to my channel. Please like the video and click the bell notification if you want to know when my next videos are put onto YouTube. There should be a box on the screen where you can see other videos I've done. Happy watching.